find inspiration, motivation, and advice from experts, as well as valuable tips on how to get started or improve your business. Let's dive into how you can begin and grow your wisdom business. Inspiring others looks different for everyone. How will you inspire?
Welcome to the Wise Dome podcast, and today we're chatting with Nikki Williams. Welcome to our episode. This episode today, Nikki Williams is actually one of the fabulous entrepreneurs who is part of our cohort in the Empower Ed program with Scale Investors this year in 2023. And I just love what you do and had to have you on our podcast. So I'm so thankful you're here, and I would love for you to share with our audience and the world out there why you're doing this program, why you're doing what you're doing, who you are, everything about you. So just start off, go.
Oh, wow. Where to start? And hey, thank you so much for having me too, and seeing the vision for what we're trying to do with Mentwell. And that's probably a good segue. We'll start from now and what I'm doing these days. So Mentwell is a gift-giving platform, but it's for mental health and wellness services, whereby the person who receives the gift gets to choose how they redeem it. Right. So the idea really came to me after working in a digital agency, my own digital agency, for about 10 years. And at the end of COVID, after being with a client on Sydney Harbour, drinking champagne from bottles with B-grade celebrities and influencers, I really had this huge sort of light bulb moment of going, why would we gift people this sort of experience when we can't even get our basic needs met? And that was where the idea started. So it was like, okay, hang on a second. I don't want to work in luxury sort of stuff anymore or experiences necessarily. I want to be able to help people gain the access that they need financially or other to get psychological help or to enter the energy realm or even just to pay for a GP appointment. Yeah. That's where the idea for Mentwell started. And yeah, that's where we are now.
And okay, so what type of connections do you need to make to actually get this, flowing?
To get it going? Okay. Yeah. So first and foremost, it was a bit funny how my now team members sort of dropped into my lap. It started off with meeting one of my best friends now who is living down the street. She lost her job and she's in admin and HR and is sort of an all-rounder. So she started helping out in the back end. Then she introduced me to an engineer who is building the background sort of process and coding, etc. Yeah. And my partner works in financial services. So she's been helping with building out a pitch deck and financials, etc. But yeah, I guess you have to be aware of what people are good at and what their roles are in society. And if they believe in the cause and they seem to come along for the ride, I guess that's part of what being an entrepreneur is. Hey,
so oh god, yeah,
you just have to look for the right people and sort of reel them in.
Yeah, and you've got, you get your challenges, but you have your major wins as well, and they always make up for them in the end because of all the effort that we put in, and as we call it, sweat equity that we all tend to put into our businesses. So, tell me about you personally and how you got to this point then.
Yeah, good one. So this is really big life stuff here. I might put a query here for everyone who might be listening that this is trauma talk now. So just going to put the warning there. Yeah. That long story short, when I was 4 years old, we're going to go back in time a little here. Yeah. I was told I had meningitis, and my earliest memory and my earliest medical memory as well was almost having a spinal tap and a blood test being pinned down to a table pretty much in a hospital with neither of my parents there, no support network whatsoever. And that really kind of changed the way that my life went. So I struggled to get any kind of medical help throughout my life, but I didn't know that it was going to play out the way it did later on. So then when I was 21 and 23, I went through these huge medical situations that I really didn't deal with very well. So much so that I couldn't tell anyone that I was going through these certain experiences. That then led me to drug and alcohol abuse, really not hanging around the right kind of people, running my own business, so being super hyper independent as well. and not really knowing what kind of relationships I should be bringing into my life too. And then I came across a few people who started being a mirror to me, going, what are you doing? Check yourself, come on, you can do better than this. Why aren't you looking after yourself? And that led me onto a year and a half of sort of self-exploration and having some really hard chats with people who are super close with me. And that is why now, after a lot of yoga, a lot of meditation, trying out a lot of energy-based practices, a lot of talk therapy, that I now know what I want to do in this lifetime. And that is help other people kind of find the kind of happiness that I have found after 30 odd years of being pretty traumatized and pretty numb to what I was doing. So that's, a little bit about my story. And if you could see what I was like 10 years ago, you wouldn't believe that I'm here right now, to be honest.
Yeah. And many of us do what we do because there is a major passion behind it. And there's that sort of major need, rather than just the want of, I just want to be able to help. It's more, I need to help other people because I know how desperate I was for this or whatever. So it is, you can hear it in your voice. Lovely, Nikki.
Thanks. I know I get a bit passionate about this.
You've bounced and you've become even more, like, just smile on your face right now. And you've got the sun behind you. Like, no one can see this video right now, but the sun behind her, has got this massive light glow behind her. So what are your plans? Where are you planning on going to with this? So do you have any phases that you're trying to hit, milestones that you're trying to hit?
Yeah, for sure. So at the moment, we're 6 to 8 weeks away for Mentwell to be sort of ready to use by the public. So we're currently integrating an API, essentially, which will allow us to let other people gift and receive. In addition to that, we're trying to raise our pre-seed round at the moment. The economy is very challenging in terms of trying to raise at the moment. So we are also looking into crowdfunding options too, given it is a social enterprise leaning business as well. And then it's about just marketing spend primarily. So PR and digital being my background, I know that that's where majority of the spend needs to be funneled. And then we want to try and help 1 million people find the right kind of help for them. That's our first real huge, I guess, aim, if you will. And then by year 3, we want to go into the US, which is a completely different market and has its challenges, but that's where we want to be. And we, at the end of the day, I know that this is a huge sort of aim, but given what is happening to the economy, given what is happening to the mental health of people generally around the world because of these struggles that we're experiencing, I estimate that if we pose the idea around Christmas or birthdays or even during the business year to say to people, why are we giving people chocolates and JB Hi-Fi vouchers when we're either making people more unhealthy or filling up their houses with things that they might use only once, right? There's a better solution to gift giving, and we should be giving people real care at the end of the day and giving people choice. So that's the overarching aim, to get more people thinking about the way that they gift give.
And there's certain peaks, isn't there, of the year that mental health zone sort of kicks in, and that's the big major time, like you said, at Christmas and so forth. And that's like one of the big you've got the marketing mind, you'd know all of that, but just so our audience are aware, the things that we have to think about as entrepreneurs, especially when we're looking at milestones, we're looking at when we're hitting those phases and so forth. We always have to think about, okay, if we're launching at this date, how is it going to affect? When's the build-up going to be? How long is it going to take for the build-up? How much is it? Like, there's all this balancing, isn't there? Like, there's just that constant balance of what you're doing, when you're going to deliver it, and also the hats that you're all wearing. So let's go back to the team that you have. So anyone out there and this, this relates to anyone who's really building, whether it's a knowledge business or just any business online or any business anywhere. A team is really important. Where do you see your team going?
Where do I see them going? I think we will primarily be a digital team, for one, given I've run 2 digital-oriented businesses and I prefer to work that way. in saying that, I would hope that we have some hybrid situations throughout the year where we can come together and work together. I think the team that we have is really dynamic as it sits because we all do get along on a personal level, and we're either passionate about trauma and healing related topics or energy-based topics, or we have gone through super traumatic events ourselves as well. And that sort of unites us in this idea.
Good.
And
that's what I was going to segue into, because I was wondering, so you've got your team, so how, like, you're supporting other people through the offer that you have, like the products you have. So how do you embrace that as part of the team?
I guess being able to talk openly about what we're going through on a day-to-day basis. If anyone listening knows about human design, for example, I'm a reflector, which means that I read people pretty well. And I can usually help people, if they're open to the idea, that is, to get to the crux of what's actually going on for them, and what trigger might be being triggered to cause a reaction that they're having or not having sometimes. So I believe that empathetic leadership is super important these days, and I believe I am exactly that. So being able to have that balance between talking about personal experiences with my team, plus making sure that we get the job done that we need to on a day-to-day basis, is the kind of leader that I want to be. You know, I want an open platform and a safe platform for people to be able to talk about what they're going through on a day-to-day basis or a long-term basis. And I think that's where more of the world needs to be, quite frankly. We're not all robots.
We're meant to be able to twist and turn and change and do all. You've got to be fluid. You just have to be fluid and have to be prepared, because I think these days you can't really predict what's going on anymore.
That's exactly right.
The way people's minds, you know, anyway, there's so many triggers out there and so forth that, you know, you have to be mindful of your team that are close to you, especially, like, they're the foundation in the end of your business that's going to help you carry it through. And obviously that will expand over time or whatever, and you will expand over time, you know, with, you know, your mind and how things work. But I think just having that strong foundation with your team. I know with me, like with our team, the gratitude I hold for them every day, and, you know, I get emotional very easily. So I just sit there sometimes. But I don't know how, you know, this is one of the other things too when you're building a business and you're trying to find people. I seem to be going to more team orientated at the moment, but I'll get off that soon. But just, you know, it's just where people just fall into your lap, or those people that you meet and then all of a sudden you just feel like you have to fight for them. I don't know what it is, but sometimes, you know, you just come across something like, shit, I really need to work with you, and I don't care what you say, I'm going to get you. And that's what happened with our architect. He was like, oh, this is massive, Nikki. How are you going to do? I don't care. I want you, and you're going to work. Please, we have to do this. After over a weekend of negotiating, like talking, he's like, all right, okay, I'll do it. Cool. And he's been with me for over a year now. So
love that directedness, like we were talking about earlier. Just, I will have you. You are mine. Let's do this.
We're going to get this done. And he's just like, anyway. So we've leaps and bounds since we've all been working together. And I think that whole empathy side of things as well, understanding people have lives, people have needs, people, you know, it's just in touching base again. You know, I think that's a huge thing that we have to sort of look after our teams, look after our world in the sense of where we're working and who we're working with and what we're trying to achieve. So with respect to where you're going, how do you plan on sort of connecting with those external sources that can help deliver those services or those, you know, offers that you want to provide?
So we're using some existing databases at the moment that have already been vetted. It's the way that we want to start this. So we want to start the business being super broad. We just want to have lots of different service providers available on the platform rather than vetting them ourselves, knowing that we've got them from sources where they are already vetted.
Yeah. Okay.
And the thing about Mentwell is that we're not a booking service. So people are not booking these appointments through us. They're being diverted off to these service providers' sites to then make sure that that's how they want to redeem their card.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that we're kind of lucky in terms of the tech that we're using, that we don't have to do all the vetting ourselves. And we're not a marketplace either. We are only the gift giving service and only the directory. How you use these two services is up to the individual, but we can give you the tools for how to use these services appropriately, because psychology is not the only way to solve your problems.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. And, I love the fact that you're actually building this at that broad spectrum, because it just allows, one, you'll get some great analytics out of it, but two, it allows, those people who don't know necessarily what to give as a gift, but they have such an option there, and they'll see, look, and like you mentioned earlier with your backstory, you had people mirroring you all of a sudden saying, you should get yourself into this, get yourself into that. That's really perfect for those who are giving the gifts to recognize possibly when they're passing it on to the next person. So I think it's fantastic. Absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
I love this. This is just really great, Nikki. I wish you so much luck with all of this. And look, I don't even think it needs luck. I think this is just going to be like taking off like amazing. So what traction have you found so far? Have you been building up your brand and everything online?
Yeah, we have primarily on LinkedIn, just keeping people in the loop with various founders programs that I keep being accepted into, which is always a good sign. Keeping people in the loop with various VC meetings and little screenshots of the feedback we're getting.
Yep.
We're building out our social platforms at the moment in terms of organics. Sort of visibility, if you will, and then we're ready to hit the ground running with SEO and PPC as soon as our platform is ready, which is about 6 weeks away. It's all systems go in terms of preparation at the moment, but we're not in a position to have real traction yet, other than knowing we have hundreds of thousands of service providers on our directory at the moment,
which is awesome.
So it's like once the system goes, it's going to go. So
are you going to do like a beta process or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll do a bunch of testing once it's up and running. We've already got 400 odd people who have helped us with a bunch of surveys, for example, and who want to be the first users. So that will be the next stage too, once the platform is all integrated.
Wow. We'll see you in 6 to 8 weeks then, won't we?
I think so, yeah. We also have some interest from NDIS Australia, from Bunnings and from Hawthorn Football Club as well, from the business side.
Yeah.
So,
that's bloody awesome, Nikki. I'm so, this is probably the first proper conversation we've had. We've met each other online a few times in some of the sessions, but I'm just, this is awesome. I'm so thankful that you came onto our podcast today, Nikki, and just learning more about you, who you are, what you're building for, who as well. Like, I just think Mentwell is going to be fantastic, and I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for hopping on. Is there anything that you'd like to share or anything like that with our audience before we hop off?
Just to keep an eye on mentwell.com.au, keep an eye on our Instagram as well, which is just mentwellau. And we're just so excited to try and help people help other people. And if anyone wants to have a chat about sort of trauma and healing in general, because I think it needs to be more of a normalized topic, then I'm always open. And hey, Nikki, thank you for everything that you do. I love that we have the same name and the same spelling.
It's the fun spelling, apparently.
It is the fun. It totally is. But yeah, thank you so much for your openness and for your platform and insight too.
Anything I can do to help support other people doing business like you. It's just absolutely amazing. All of the details of Nikki Williams will be in our summary below. So all the connections that, you might want to make with Nikki, please click on any of them below. And remember, do subscribe to our podcast. All right, guys, take care. Have a lovely day.
Woo-hoo.
Thanking our sponsors today and every episode that we do go live with, Wisdom and the Wisdom on Wisdom events. Be sure to check out details in our summary below. Wisdom is our learning and content management platform for anyone who's sharing their content online through memberships, courses, challenges, creating a community and engaging with their members. All details, like I said, are below in our summary.
Thanks for listening to the Wise Dome podcast. If you enjoyed and have been inspired by this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, do subscribe and please share it with others. Post about us on social media or leave a rating and review. To To catch all the latest from me, Nikki Kelly, you can follow me on Instagram at Wise Dome Podcast, WISEDOME Podcast. I'm Nikki Kelly. Thanks again, and we'll catch up next time.